Welcome, Lakeview Nation and SMSU Mustangs. Mustangs run together. We are here today in the Laker Art Room, and we are going to be working on how to make salt dough clay. Now, simple instructions put up by a former SMSU art student who teaches in Vermilion, South Dakota, or Yankton, South Dakota, excuse me. And she put this up, and this is awesome. So we need 1/4 cup flour. We need 1/4 cup salt, half a cup of flour, excuse me, 1/4 cup salt, 1/4 cup water. Now, some of those ingredients are going to change a little bit just because that's the process and nature of creating things. But so I'm going to start with my dry ingredients. I have some flour. I have my salt. I have my mixing bowl. I have a half a cup, and I have a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to take a 1/4 cup. And here's the one thing that always holds true is that your measurements are really important. So I'm going to tap this with my hand, and it's going to get flour all over the place. I'm going to try to make sure that I have a 1/4 cup. If I don't have a 1/4 cup, I'm going to add just a little bit more. Now, I'm going to take this. I'm going to mix that dry mix right into the bowl. Now I'm going to add my salt. Mixing my dry ingredients first, and this is my 1/4 cup of salt. I had a half a cup of flour, and I'm filling that bad boy up right there. Yeah, there is my 1/4 cup of salt. Now, I've heard both that you need to have a little more salt than what is said or prescribed. I'm mixing this by hand, and it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and the more I mix it, the better my consistency will be. So I'm going to keep going. Kind of makes a powdery mess, but at the same time, that's what we're looking for. So now I also need to have a stir stick, and I don't. So I'm going to use my handy dandy Tombow Art. I need a 1/4 cup of water. So I have a little bit more than a 1/4 cup. I found last time that when I did this, I was a little bit, and then I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to mix it together without using my hands right away. And you're going to see that it clumps together like this. And as it clumps together, now that's the point that we start using our hand. And then we're going to mix it together and get it all mixed together. Now, at this point, I might need to add a little more salt. I may have had just a little too much water. It's at this point that I've got to come up with the conclusion that what do I add? So and it smells like bread dough. I'm just going to take just a tad more flour. I'm going to mix that in and see what happens. And then I'm going to add just a little more salt. I think I had just a little too much water. So I'm going to experiment and play around until I get the right consistency. And I think I'm getting pretty close. I think I need a little more salt now. And a little more flour. See how sticky it is? I don't want it to be sticky. So I'm going to add a little flour. And I'm going to add a little more salt. And I can feel it getting firmer now. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's exactly what we're looking for. Yep, it's still a little sticky. I could probably use a little more of another material. But right now, I like how this is going together. I'm going to pat it around a little bit. It's really nice and soft. This is a little moist, so I might want to add. I got some spare flour floating around right there. I'm going to add a little of that in. I'm just going to add just a tiny bit more. I'm going to close that in on itself. And it's like making pizza dough. That's the fun of this. Woo! Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to add a little more salt. Oh, I didn't think I was right. I thought I was right at a quarter. Oh yeah, there we go. It's getting just the way I want it. All right, so there you go. How to make salt clay.